Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to the HKBU monthly webinar today. My name is Sam Wong. I'm the admissions manager at Hong Kong Baptist University, and I'm joined by two current students today. And would Manoj please start introducing yourself?
Thank you, Sam. I am Manoj and I am an international student here at Hong Kong Baptist University, and I am from Nepal, and I'm currently an year 2 student studying applied biology with concentration in biotechnology. Thank you.
And Arailym?
Hello. Hello. I am Arailym, and I am a student from Kazakhstan studying in third year in Public Relations and Advertising major, School of Communication. Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much. So we are going to talk about some tips and tricks on application from scholarship recipients today. And there are 4 major parts of it. So first of all, we'll start talking about how to choose the right program. And then there will be tips on application and interviews. And last but not least, I will invite them to share their first-hand experience in Hong Kong and HKBU. In every single session, I will open some time for questions for that particular session, so don't worry about it. Or you can save it for the end of it because we will allow a lot of time for interaction. So let me start with the first part, how to choose the right program. Now, I understand that choosing the right program, it has to be something you are interested in, definitely. But don't let your interest fool you. It might not be the name of the program. How do I say that? Well, for instance, many students come to me and say they are interested in computer science. But in fact, in HKBU, we have information systems and analytics in science, but we also have information systems and business intelligence in business. So if you are only looking at the computer science program, you might have missed something very interesting. And other than that, another example would be, marketing and PR. In some cases, students come to me and say, I want to be in marketing major, but in fact, they want to do PR. So you should definitely check which program are you really interested in. And the tips to do that is to check out the subject list. So I do that as well. So just simply go to Google and type HKBU marketing subject list and go through the list. I understand that you might not be able to, understand everything on the list, but by reading from the name, you will get a feel of what that major offers and whether it's close to your aspiration or your interest. So that's the first part. The second point is you should pay attention to broad-based admissions and program-based admissions. So like many other universities, HKBU offer broad-based admission in some program. And in short, by broad-based, we mean that when you apply, you do not have to declare a major. And for program-based admission, it means that you apply directly to the major you are interested in. So the example would be at HKBU, for instance, we run broad-based admission for Bachelor of Science. So you can see that under Bachelor of Science, we have 7 different majors. For example, chemistry, computer science, maths. If you are interested in computer science, you do not apply to computer science, you apply to Bachelor of Science because this is a broad-based program, okay? And for program-based admission, this is another example. And I use the communication program as an example. So in case you are interested in PR and advertising, because they run a program-based admission, then you should apply directly to public relations and advertising. And if you ask, like, how should I know? How would I know that? Well, it's definitely on our website or any university website. So if you're interested, do go check whether it is a broad-based program or program-based program. All right. And lastly, year of study. So in many situations, I found that students are confused which year of study they should apply for. So a very quick trick: if you are graduating this year from high school, you apply for year 1. Okay. If you are already studying in a bachelor degree program in a university, and I must highlight, it's a bachelor degree program, not diploma program, not high dip program. Bachelor degree program in university, and you are already a year 2 student, meaning you will finish your 2 years in the university, then you can apply for our year 3. if you are IB diploma students, you are also a high school graduate only. You are not eligible for year 3, okay? You are only eligible for year 1. So rule of thumb, if you are graduating from high school this year, apply for year 1, okay? So that's my part on choosing the right program. Do we have any quick question on how to choose the right program? Well, I see one about animation course. For this webinar is actually designed, primarily for students who already know, that they are interested on, or they have done some research. So I will leave it for the end. If we have time, I will go back to that. But just so you know, we do have film study in animation and media arts. So you are most welcome to check that out, okay? And maybe I can have my colleague to send you the name, post the name of the program that you can check out. I think this is the only question. Okay. Okay, another question about IB. IB students apply for which year? So as I mentioned just now, IB student, if you are getting your diploma by the end of this year or towards the end of during next summer, depending on when, when your academic year will close, you should apply for year 1. So IB diploma does not make you, different from a high school student. It's still just secondary education, okay? What about GED exam? Okay, GED is actually not on our qualified, recognized qualifications, but we do consider GED exam on a case-by-case basis, and we do consider that as a high school diploma. We will treat that as like a high school diploma. And for A-level, same thing. A-level, if you are graduating, with A-level results, A-level, GCA level, AS level, then you should apply for year 1. Okay, all right. So I think that's it for now. I want to pass on to Arailym for the tips on application. Arailym?
Yes, hello, okay. So I'm going to talk about the application process more in detail. So first tip is please check and read the academic requirements very carefully. If you don't have a clear idea about the requirements, you can contact the Department of International Students Office or advisor from the university anytime. Please don't be shy. Please don't be afraid to email if you cannot understand something. So most of the time, these details will be available on the program's webpage. You just have to look them up and always check if they are up to date, if there is something new. So maybe I assume some of you are applying to several universities at the same time. So my advice is be careful and pay attention to every detail while you are applying to HKBU. Please follow the instructions. For example, when I was applying, I read the instructions and requirements more than 10 times, and then I started applying. So that time, everything was understandable for me. And while you're applying, please provide all the documents, certificates, activities, thank you letters that you received in your high school. Don't be shy or afraid to show all the documents of the activities that you have joined. Mostly, if it is academic activities, it will be really good, but please focus on the relevance also. For example, I was applying to School of Communication, PR. So I personally studied in Kazakh Turkish High School for Girls in Almaty, KTL, maybe some of you know. And I joined many activities such as education fairs, language Olympiads. I was a volunteer in EXPO. I joined some debates. So when I was applying to School of Communication, it helped me a lot because I attached all those certificates with English translation. So please, also when you applying, when you attaching your certificate, please also provide the translation for your certificate if it's in other language. If you are IB student or GCE A-level student, please provide your predicted grades. Please attach them also. Also, I recommend you to apply in early round application period. In my case, early round application period was from September to October 15th. And that time, my all supporting documents such as certificates, IELTS results, translation of certificates, grades were ready. So I recommend you also to prepare everything as early as you can and apply on early round application period, especially if you want a scholarship. It will be really good if you apply as early as you can. Please submit your latest transcript, and it should be in English and of higher resolution. And if you are IB student, then please submit predicted grades for IB and A-level students. And the English test results, if you have, please upload the scanned copy. And if you didn't still take, please indicate the test date. Personal statement. Personal statement is part of the application process, and it's another important part of application process. But I will repeat that personal statement and recommendation letters are optional. They are not compulsory. You don't have to. It means that you don't have to write them. It's optional. But when I was applying to Baptist University, I wrote both of the essays because I thought that that is what represents me as a candidate. So to be outstanding enough for being admitted and to get scholarship among thousands of candidates, I think it's better to write at least one recommendation letter and a personal statement also. If you're gonna write your personal statement, you should be creative in your letter, and of course, please be honest. Don't exaggerate too much, or also don't be too simple in your essay. The tips are: highlight your strengths, show your will, show your aim, your dreams, what you tell them what you want to achieve by applying to Hong Kong Baptist University. Make a draft first, take your time to write, concentrate on your strengths, make it interesting, and think what might catch the admission officer's attention while reading your personal statement. And I assume some of you are taking gap year or are going to take gap year. So if you're planning or you're already taking gap year this year, you will need to mention it in your personal statement if you want to write personal statement. Explain what you are doing and what you are doing in your gap year and why you took a gap year. Focus on this also if you are taking gap year. Try to relate it to your course. For example, if you're gonna choose again School of Communication (PR), try to share what you did in your gap year. For example, maybe you wrote some blogs, or you upload some videos to YouTube, vlogs. Yeah, those are examples. And most important, please proofread your essay. Proofread your grammar, your word choice is very important. And one of the advices is good. It will be good if you can show your essay to your close people, such as sister, father, mother, who knows English, and you can take their feedback on how others can see your essay. Another part is recommendation letter. It's also not compulsory. You don't have to do it, but if you are going to do it, it's also additional support for your application. It makes your application more stronger, but it depends on you. It makes your application stronger. And in my case, my teachers could write recommendation letter for me in English, as I studied in school where my all classes was conducted in English. But if your school teachers cannot write it for you in English, then you should again provide official translation for that. And one of the most important tips for the recommendation letter is to ask the teacher who knows, who appreciates you, your skills, your ability, your knowledge. It will be good if you could take a letter from your school president or director also. After deciding on particular teacher, calmly talk with her, tell your aim, your dream, ask help, and show your ambition, show why you share why you want to apply for Hong Kong Baptist University, and then give them enough space and time to finish it. And please thank your teachers. Yeah, thank you. And I'm going to give the speech for my friend about further advice.
Okay, thank you, Arai. So now I would like to break some of the myths that are widely believed by many high school students for the application process to the university. And myth is something that we have the general idea of, but that's not true. That is widely believed by people, but which is not true. We call that myth. And one of those myths regarding the application process is that SAT is a must. Well, let me tell you what, it is not. From my own personal experience, I never submitted my SAT to HKBU, and I got 100% scholarships for an international student. So SAT is not a requirement, and actually many universities across the globe, they accept wide range of national curriculums. So even if you have not done any international curriculums like IB diploma or A-levels, you can still get into a university. For instance, Hong Kong Baptist University recognizes and accepts National Education Board, which is the high school examination, national high school examination from my country, Nepal. Similarly, Hong Kong Baptist University accepts Secondary Education Certificate, NIS Certificate, and Unified National Testing, which is the national examination for Kazakh high school students. So these two countries are just the representative countries, but there are many countries which national courses are recognized by universities, good universities like Hong Kong Baptist University. And the second myth that I would like to break here is that many high school students, again, even I used to believe, this is my own personal experience, I used to believe the more the better. But now I have talked with the admission staffs after coming here, and then I discovered the more the better is never a better. Okay, so extracurriculars needs spike. Spike means you need to highlight either one or two of your extracurricular activities in your application process or later in an interview. Extracurriculars, many extracurriculars are meant to show that you are good apart from your studies as well. But those extracurriculars should be relevant to your major that you are planning to take or the course that you will be taking in the university. And even if they are not related to your major, those extracurriculars should be something that you love doing, and it should have a focus. If you try many extracurricular activities, the only message that you are sending admission staffs is that you are jack of all trades and master of none. And of course, you do not want to send this message to the admission staff. So please, when you are highlighting your extracurriculars in your essay or in an interview or in your application, please submit only one or two. And this is true. They will never go through all of your extracurriculars if you submit more. Like, it's boring. Highlight either one or two that you are good at and that you are passionate about and that you love doing it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. That's actually is our tips on application. So now let's look at some questions on this session. I already have one here, which is about number of recommendation letters. So how many is required, and does count? Okay, how many recommendation letters is required? To answer that one, Arailym actually said that at the beginning. It is not compulsory. Okay. It is actually not compulsory, it's optional. So that's why we do not have a guideline or requirements on how many there should be. I think one thing Arailym highlighted and emphasized was that it has to be relevant. It has to be, coming from someone who cares about you, appreciate you, as a student. So it's not the problem with number. It's not like, the more the better. But the relevancy and whether it is good recommendation if it is written by the college counselors, definitely, college chancellors are our great partners. I mean, they usually spend lots of time getting to know the students and your aspiration, and they know exactly what you are doing, with your academic and your outside of the classroom. So they are good referee. So don't worry about it. I think this is it. Do we have any other questions about application?
I would like to mention that early round application period is from now until end of November this year.
Great add-on. Thank you, Arailym. And I have also written that information in the chat. So for the audience, you can keep an eye on the chat as well. So another question: can I send one recommendation letter from a teacher and one from an academic advisor? No problem. The thing is, there is no rules and regulations as long as you think that is of advantage to your application. Now, let me give you a bad example, then you will know. A student applied for physics, for science, Bachelor of Science, and then he asked his badminton coach to write a letter, a very short letter saying he's really good at badminton. That's not a good letter, and if you have 5 of them, it doesn't work. Okay, so it's really about whether it is a good letter. I think we have another questions as well. We have quite a lot of questions here. Between IELTS and TOEFL, which one does HABU prefer? We don't have a preference. That's why I think Manoj mentioned that we accept a wide range of qualifications. And to be honest, I'm very proud of that because we open doors to students around the world. We do not. That's why we don't make SAT compulsory. In a way, we accept quite a great number of regional qualifications. In that way, we open a door to more students. So no preference as long as you meet the requirements is fine. Okay, in your country, the national exams are canceled. Can you submit grades instead as examination results? That's a very good question. I think it happens not only in your country, but also in some other countries as well. So in that case, first of all, write to us. Let us know where you're from, what is happening in your country. For example, you have a news. You can give us a link of an official announcement saying that there is a cancellation or on the news, and then we can also please do pass us your teacher's contact if you can, so that we can contact with your teacher and get to know more about the situation. Because like last year when there is the pandemic, we exercise flexibility as much as we can in order to assist all applicants. And we will definitely continue to do that in views of the situation, in views of the depending on how the pandemic evolves. So what are the opportunities for double major? We do have double degree programs. I will have my colleague pasting the link to you later on. But every time, when someone asks me about double major, I say this. I love when a high achieving student come to me and say, I want to do double major. But you see, Manoj is smiling. Maybe Manoj, you can explain a bit. When to start with, it's very different. Being a high school student and a university student. So I would actually, my advice is start first before you think about getting a double major. And also, for example, at HABU, we have combined degree, not double major, because when you do double major, it means that you follow 2 sets of program structure. 2 different sets of program structure, which could mean less flexibility. But when you have combined degree like what we have, business computing, combining business and computing, then you have a seamless operation. Then you can focus on studying intensively. But I think we can save it to the end of at the last part. Maybe at the last part, Manoj can speak a little bit, or Arailym can share a bit. So is sending only one recommendation letter okay? You know what? I will stop answering question about number of academic recommendation letter, because there is really no rules. If you still don't get it, please take that in mind. There is no rules. And okay, I will move on. What is the IELTS requirement? Okay, it's IELTS academic overall band 6.0 across programs. Okay. May I apply to year 2 if I'm studying at year 1 at other university? No, because as mentioned earlier, you have to complete 2 years in a university until you can apply for year 3 in our degree. So another question: where may I submit the information for pandemic related concerns? Well, first of all, I think you should email us. So we should start the conversation because we can tell you what we want, what we need to make a case for you. So let's just start the conversation first. Another question, is there a format that we should follow when writing the personal statement, and are there any word counts limit? Now, because again, it is optional, so there is no, I won't suggest anything on the format. But I think Arailym said it really good just now, so be creative with the format. There is a word count on the application, but if you have more than 600 words, then just upload it on a separate file as a supporting documents. Okay, another question is, what kind of counseling support is offered to students? Well, we basically go through the whole admissions journey hand in hand with the student, and I will introduce my colleague to you because each country has its dedicated country manager. For example, I am responsible for Nepal and Kazakhstan, so I will be helping all the students from Nepal and Kazakhstan on every step of the way in their admissions process. So another one, any special preparation for applying animation course? Great question. Not just animation, but also visual arts. Visual arts and also music in creative industry, I believe. They require portfolio, but all the requirements, if you are curious, just check on the program requirements is on our website. So last question before we move on, is it okay that I pass certain documents past the application deadline? Yes, that's a great question. You can continue to upload supporting documents after you submit the application. Okay, so don't worry if you think of something else that you really want to push through, do that, but that better be arriving before your interviews, because otherwise they might be already making up their mind, the professors. Now I think we have to call it a stop now because I want to move on to the tips on interview. Okay, let's move on to the tips on interview, and I will have Arailym to talk about the first point. Arailym, please.
Hello again. So I'm going to talk about interview. So first of all, let's say that you were shortlisted for an interview, you were invited for an interview. It means that you passed the first step, which is very important. And now you have to prepare for an interview. Interview is important as much as the last part, which was application part. So for me personally, I received an invitation for interview after 2-3 weeks of my application. So the biggest tip and advice and first step on how to prepare for interview is to make a research. Start from doing deeper research on the program that you applied for. What the program includes, why you applied, what is your goal or aim if you are really going to study in that program, and why Hong Kong. Ask these questions to yourself again and again. Do research. To be more specific, ask yourself and find the proper answer for the question. Does it fit your aspiration? It depends on your program, but before an interview, also you should read your personal statement again and be ready to answer questions in detailed way and think on how it is relevant to your application for a specific program and institution. So in my case, I prepared for an interview, and my first step for preparation was doing research. I go to the School of Communication website again and again. I read about PR, I read about their activities, events that they conduct, what is does the School of Communication's aim and environment fit my aim, my environment fit what I want. Yeah, I ask these questions a lot. For example, I imagine, okay, let's imagine I'm really studying in this program. Do I like it? What does this program include? What kind of program it is, and why Hong Kong? Yeah, just ask questions to yourself and do research more deeply. Yeah, next I will give speech to my friend for further information.
Thank you, Arailym. So now let me continue on the tips on interview. So the second tip that we would like to share with you is practice. We all know practice makes man perfect, isn't it? So there are ways to practice the interview. The first way is to consult with your teacher. Why you should consult with your teacher? Because they are an experienced people. they might have guided many high school students before you. So you should consult your teacher about the interview that you will be having very soon. And since you will be applying to an international university, the interview are conducted in English language. So when you practice with your teacher will be giving feedbacks on your grammar. He will be giving suggestions how to speak well in English language. And the second way to practice for the interview is to practice with your friends and family. Why should you practice with your friends and family? It is because since you will be having an online interview, there may be some technical problem in the interview. So if you practice beforehand, then you can know whether your Wi-Fi is stable or not, or whether you can speak fluently or not. And so I said practice, practice, practice. But what should you practice? So you should practice with some of the sample questions that I will be sharing with you in the next slide. So here are some of the sample questions, and I want to make it clear to you that these are just the reference questions. And one of the questions here was asked to me when I had the real interview with Hong Kong Baptist University. So there are different criteria for the questions in an interview. Some of the questions will be asking about yourself. Some will be testing your competency. Some will be testing your knowledge about the current affairs, and there will be many more. But these are the simple questions. And so how should you answer questions about yourself? For example, the question could be, how would your friends describe you? So in this kind of question, you should mention your unique qualities so that you can outstand all the other applicants. There you will be the number one out of all the 1,000 applicants to a university. So you should think of your quality and then answer this kind of questions. And the second question was asked to me in my real interview. I was asked, give an example of a time when you were put under pressure. And actually, when I was middle of the final examination in my A levels, I was contacted by my high school because my high school got invited in the linguistic Olympiad, and it was the national competition in Nepal. And I could not say no because I also wanted to participate in that. So what I did is, instead of the time that I used to waste in social media or used to waste using mobile phones, I dedicated that time to prepare for the linguistic Olympiad, and then I used my normal time to practice for the final examinations. And at the end, we could secure bronze medal. That means third position in the national level competition in the linguistic Olympiad, and then I could still manage my A-level grades. So these kind of questions are asked for the high school student to test their competency on pressure management skills or time management skills. And the next questions could be related to the current affairs. For instance, at the moment, if you are going to face an interview, the question could be, how does the pandemic affect the economy? Because now university loves students who have a global vision. So you should update yourself with the current affairs. You should read the newspaper daily, or at least by skipping a day, or at least once a week. And now I want to share with you one special tips for the interview, and that tip is, prepare a question for your interviewer. You might be wondering, you enter an interview room to answer a question or to ask a question. And in fact, I would say at the end, you should ask a question. I personally asked 2 questions when I faced the Zoom online interview with the Hong Kong Baptist University. And the questions that I had asked was, since I needed a scholarship to study, I asked, I am from the Southeast Asian country, and do you provide a special scholarship to Southeast Asian countries or not? And if they provide, they will say, and if they even if they cannot say with you, they will ask you to go into the website, and so that you will know more about the opportunities that you may be getting. And the next question, since I was interested in some opportunities even in the undergraduate level, something like research opportunities, so I said, if I am accepted and if I become an undergraduate student at Hong Kong Baptist University, will you give me an opportunity to participate in research opportunities or not? So these are the kind of questions. If you still have doubt, then you should ask the interviewer, and then they will give you answer. And if they do not give you answer, they will tell you how you will find an answer. So these are the tips that I would like to share. And continuing on, now I want to share with you do's and don'ts in an online interview. So first, let me talk about the do's of an online interview. So you might be thinking, well, I'm facing an online interview. Do I need to dress properly or not? Yes, you need to dress professionally. You do not need to wear tie and suit, but you need to wear a nice sweater or a button-down shirt or a blouse, depending on your gender. What you should not wear is your favorite band T-shirt. You do not wear that in an interview, or you should not wear a pajamas. And the next thing that I would like to suggest is to check technical settings, because if you were having a real face-to-face interview, you would not worry about this. But since we are in the middle of the pandemic, and when we are not in Hong Kong, you will be facing an online interview. Or if you are not in that country, you will be facing an online interview. So you need to check technical settings. What are the technical settings? Suppose you are interviewed via Zoom, then you need to make sure that your username in the Zoom is your full name. So what you should not keep as a username? You should not keep your favorite player as your username. You should make sure your full name is displayed in your Zoom meeting. And the next thing that I would like to suggest is to have an eye contact. How you can have an eye contact is to look into the webcam. We all know that eye contact is the effective way of communication. So when you want to tell our story, you should look into the webcam. If you look into your notes, or if you look around, then it shows that you are not interested. You are just passing time. You are just relaxing. You are not even considering this as an interview. So please do not do that, and please do eye contact with the interviewer. And now, what are the don'ts for an online interview? So the first don't is do not enter the room in the last minute. We all know haste in the last minute is maybe going to be waste. So when you enter the Zoom meeting in the last minute, you are not focused, you are stressed, you are breathing heavily, so you cannot tell your story properly. So I would suggest you to enter the Zoom meeting at least 10 minutes early, and you should wait patiently until the host will allow you to in the real meeting. So do not enter the room at the last minute. And the don't for an online interview, another don't for an online interview is do not memorize answers. Because why interview is conducted? Interview is conducted to test your personality. If you memorize your answers, or if you ask someone to write the answers and memorize it, you are not channeling your inner voice, and this is not going to send a positive message to the interviewer. Interviewer are the very experienced people, and now they know whether you are talking naturally or you have memorized an answer. So please do not memorize an answer. And at the end, we still do not know what questions we will be asked, right? So there is no use of memorizing an answer. And another tip that I would like to share with you is do not panic. At the end of the day, things can go wrong. While you are having an interview, there may be an earthquake. Who knows? Earthquake may hit your country. So you should not panic even if the situation goes wrong. If your internet connection falters, then make sure you have a mobile already with the internet connection, but keep that in silent mode, because you do not want it to distract you during an interview, right? But so you should have patience, and you should explain properly what is happening with you. If you encounter some difficulty, some technical issues, then you should explain patiently with the interviewer, and they will understand what is the problem that you are having. And if in case you got logged out of the Zoom meeting, please log in immediately, or try to log in immediately and explain the situation. Believe me, these technical difficulties will not have negative impression on the interviewer, as long as you have patience and calm and then explain properly. So these are the tips that I have got. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Manoj. I think both Manoj and Arailym gave some very good tips on interview. If you have problem jotting down the notes, we will put the recording up online later on. So let's go to the question part again. Questions. Okay, first of all, this is a great question for both of you, Arailym and Manoj. The question is, would the interview questions involve subject-related question? For example, if he is interested in, say, PRA or science or biology, like you do, will the professors ask you particularly about that subject? Maybe Arailym can share your experience first.
Okay, sure. About subject, as I remember, mostly my interview was only 15 minutes, and 5 minutes of that 15 minutes just went to the problem with Wi-Fi. So 10 minutes we talk only about the information that I gave them in my personal statement, which is like they asked me, so you wrote that you volunteered here, please can you say more about it? And then they asked, did you wrote any articles to newspapers, or did you join any kind of writing contest, those things? And actually I wrote a poem for newspapers, so I mentioned that one. But they didn't ask about like particular subject from me. Yeah, they just asked about my experience with communication, with extracurricular activities. Yeah.
Okay, how about Manoj?
Well, yeah, actually, the interviewer would be interested to know whether you are clear about which faculty you are going or which subject you will be studying. They will not ask you the course content. So if you have forgotten what you have read in high school, do not worry. This is not the high school test, okay? But they will be interested to know whether you know clearly what you are doing or not. So that's all that I want to say.
Okay, let's look at another question. Now I want to specific. I really like this question. So it's about eye contact, Manoj. The student asked like whether he should or she should, look at the monitor or the camera. Now I have the experience. This student, it's a very good question. What I did is I recorded myself. That's what you do, because you can never tell, the function could be different in the different computer. So I don't think the same thing applies to all, but you can record yourself and you can practice just like what Manoj said. So, and other questions about interview, I think there was a question about location of the interview earlier, and Manoj explained that. So actually we conduct all the interview online via Skype, whether there is pandemic or not, you are not required to fly to Hong Kong. So are everybody being interviewed? That's a very good question as well. So shortlisted applicants will be invited to interviews. So it really depends on whether the faculty finds that your application is interesting or eligible, or whether they would like to interview you. There is also case when student could get an offer without an interview. So it could be possible as well. Next question, please. Okay. I think there was, okay, there's a question about the Christian background of HABU. I will answer that later on in another session. After the interview, how long do we need to wait for the scholarship result? Okay, so that's also a very good question. So basically, we process application on a rolling basis. It means that we don't wait until a certain deadline to give a result. And when a student is receiving an offer, he or she will receive the offer and scholarship at the same time if they are given a scholarship. So basically, at the same time, they don't wait until like 3 months later they get the offer to know whether they get a scholarship. So how does HABU look for? Okay, what do we look for in interviews? I think they have kind of explained that just now. Both Manoj and Arailym, but maybe you two can give a little extra tips on that. Just a very, very quick one, like what do you think the university is looking for from your experience? Arailym?
From my experience, university, looking for, don't think that this is related to religion. They're looking for outstanding, unique people. It depends on the program that you applied for. For example, in my case, communication school, I think they're looking for people, students who have potential, they're looking for people who striving for their dreams, they have aim for their future, they have motivation, they are active, they are energetic, outstanding, unique. Yeah, you just have to show that side if you are applying for communication school.
Okay, how about Manoj?
I think university what university looks in a student is whether he is ready to get into a university or not. So how do we know he or she is ready to get into a university? One of the factor is he has graduated from a high school and he has passed and is applying for a university. Then of course, if you have higher grades, then you have higher chance. This is the competition. And the next thing that university would be interested is what you are as a person. Apart from your studies, are you do you have a human qualities like leadership, or do you support others or not? So you may be willing to show some of the volunteering experiences. It is basically universities first they look for grades, there is no doubt. So grades means first you need to graduate high school. Even in high school you can apply with expected grades. So the first thing, of course, they look grades. No matter what they say, from my experience, I may be challenged, but the thing they will look is grades. And even if you do not have good grades, but you are a good leader, you have participated, you have organized a debate, national level debate competition, or you have established own debate club in your high school, that shows you are a leader. And of course, universities would be interested to look that as well. Basically, the good qualities that you can think of as a student, universities look that. So there is no any criteria.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Manoj. I think you both gave some very good advice. We have less than 15 minutes, so I want to move on to the last part, live at HKBU. So just a very quick introduction, because I believe most of you who are here already knows us pretty well. But just want to give you a quick intro of Hong Kong Baptist. So we were founded by the Baptist Convention in 1956. That's why the name. But you are not required to be religious to join the university. We open our door to everybody. But we do have a chaplain's office that organizes activities and is available to everybody, including staff and students, and we can join on voluntary basis. So location-wise, we are in the city center. You can't beat the location. We teach in English, and we have an amazing student-faculty ratio of 14:1. That's why we have a great student-teacher, very close student-teacher relationship. It's like a big family. It's a very caring university, and we are a liberal arts university delivering academic excellence, innovation, and social progress. And there are 4 attributes that we hope our students could develop during the time at HKBU. And I see that a question, a student asked, what defines HKBU student? And I think these are the 4 attributes that kind of define our students. And now I want to invite both Arailym and Manoj to share their real life experience on what it is like to be an HKBU student. So first of all, Arailym. Oops.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Okay. So interesting part. I assume most of you may be thinking what it is like to be an university student. What is HKBU student life? So don't worry, you can spend your student life in HKBU in a very excellent way. There are so many opportunities here. If you look around, if you search, there are so many opportunities. You can try so many new things, meet different people, make many friends, have fun, study, learn new information, and so on. Hong Kong is a place where East meets West. So you can feel not only local culture here, but also the Western culture. On weekends, you can enjoy traveling around city and have fun with your friends, trying local food, shopping, taking pictures, going to parties, whatever you want. In our university, we have students from different parts of the world, including Malaysia, Kazakhstan, Thailand, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Myanmar, Nepal, India, France, England, Norway, whatever, everyone. We have many people, so you can make many friends. You can exchange culture and traditions by making friends from those countries. Our international office always conducts activities for us to have fun, to show and share culture, where we are able to communicate and make new friends. For example, like in the picture, there are many people, as you can see, that is tram party. In the tram, international office conducts party for us. They bring so many food, drinks for us, and we were on the tram and traveling around city. Moreover, I was interviewed by famous Hong Kong newspapers about the scholarship that I'm receiving. I am a full scholarship recipient, and China Daily, a famous newspaper in Hong Kong, asked me to give an interview for them. That is the PDF like picture, as you can see from the newspaper. In there, I was interviewed by the newspaper, and they asked me question, how I get the scholarship, how to get it, what to do to get scholarship, who can gain scholarship, everything. I answered those questions. If you want to read, I can give the link. And I was a member of student clubs such as MUN, Model United Nations, ISAC in the university, and they have so many opportunities. They have international conferences, and you can improve your leadership skills, your communication skills. You can become extrovert. If you're introvert, you can just become extrovert by the help of those student clubs. Also, as you can see, in my culture in Kazakhstan, we have very important holiday, which is called Nowruz. It's like Chinese New Year, like those things. And we conduct our own Nowruz in here. As you can see, I am there. I am dancing in there. The 4 girls. That is our traditional dress. And in our university, we have more than 30 Kazakh students. So international office gave us a chance to show our tradition by conducting those party, Kazakh traditional party. And can you move to I was also called for being a model for the university posters. One of the example is the first picture. I am in there also. That is Hong Kong Baptist University student ambassador kind of poster. I was student ambassador only for a few months, but I know what they do. So they call me for being a model. Also, I was very active student, so they said, "Oh, we noticed you everywhere, so please, can you be our model?" And these two are another 2 famous Hong Kong newspapers in which I gave interview about my volunteering experience in Bali, Indonesia. This was another opportunity that I got by the help of international office, by the help of HKBU. I went to Bali as a volunteer, and also I conduct trip for HKBU students to go to Kazakhstan. I was guide for them, and I conduct a trip with the help of, again, whole office of Hong Kong Baptist University, and I was interviewed about that in the newspapers. So yeah, HKBU life is very vibrant, very lively. If you just look around, there are so many opportunities. You can be active, and you will want to be active if you come here. So welcome. And yeah, Manoj, can you share more?
Okay, thank you, Arai. So out of many experiences that I have in Hong Kong Baptist University, I would like to highlight 2 of the experiences. And the first experience is the summer research experience that I have had this year. And it all started with an email. In May of 2020, I received an email inviting year 1 students to participate in the summer research project with the Department of Physics. So I know there are certain things, if they go, they cannot come back. Something like flown river, something like the opportunities. So I didn't want to let the opportunities go in front of me. So I grabbed the opportunities. So now I am working on the mathematical modeling on the dynamics of COVID-19 transmission in Hong Kong. So instead of going onto the technical details, what I do is I work with 2 professors, Dr. Liang Tian and Professor Lei Hantong from the Department of Physics, and along with my 5 undergraduate friends, co-undergraduate friends, and 5 including me. So this was our summer research program, and I'm still working with professors, and now I work with MPhil students in the department. So can you imagine it? If you show interest, if you have passion in research, then of course, I think Hong Kong Baptist University, unlike other universities, I have seen many other universities that provide research opportunities only in the graduate school, but Hong Kong Baptist University welcomes even year 1 undergraduate students in the research experience. So next slide, please. So my second experience is the virtual student exchange. And actually, I always wanted to go for an student exchange program because I'm a kind of person who like to travel. I like to know more about the people across the globe. And it again started with an email with this wonderful poster, YOLO, you only live once. So I was quite disappointed, like with the situation, COVID-19 situation before, that I may not be able to go for an exchange. But when I got this poster, I realized you should not blame the situation for the opportunities that you miss. So I realized that we only live once. So, and then I applied for the virtual student exchange. So how did I do that? After I received this poster in an email, I immediately signed up for the webinar that the international office was hosting. And from that webinar, I learned how to apply, what are the criteria, how to transfer the credit that you learn there back into the universities. So now I am doing virtual student exchange in Temple University, Japan campus. I'm taking one 3-unit course called Probability and Statistics, and I am taught by a professor who is from Europe, who lives in Japan. I am in Hong Kong, and then I'm taking a course that is taught in Japan. So he is Steven Roberto Mino Evilla, and he is such a wonderful professor. He knows that I am not in Japan, so when I have some technical issues submitting assignments, he guided me properly. He even extends the deadline sometimes for me. And my classmates are also very cool. They are very welcoming. They have taught me some Japanese phrases. So it has been a wonderful experience. And it would not have been possible if international office had stepped away from its promises, like saying that this is the difficult situation, but it did not. It tried to give the wonderful experience to its interested students, even in this difficult situation. So they have arranged virtual exchange with many partners across the globe, and I am doing virtual exchange in Temple University, Japan campus. And it has been a wonderful experience to be a Hong Kong Baptist University student. Yeah,
Thank you very much. Thank you both, Manoj and Arailym. This is at the end of our presentation, and before we go, I want to answer, I can't answer all the questions, but I want to answer a few quite interesting and important questions. First of all, there is a student who asked if they have A-level and SAT results, then which one then they should apply with. First of all, if you already have the SAT and you will do the A-level, then you probably should apply with SAT first, and then let us know that you are going to take A-level exam. It would be completely fine. You should submit both in a way, so don't choose. And the question about what is the benchmark for SAT to get a full scholarship. So here you go. This is a reference, okay? For full scholarship baseline, if you're applying with SAT, it's 1430 to start with. 1430 or above, you'll be considered for full scholarship. It's not a guarantee, but it's the baseline for your reference, okay? So another question is how many scholarships are available for international students? That I cannot answer because we don't know. So what happens is we have an amount of money for scholarship, and because we have different kinds of scholarships. So we have full scholarship that covers everything from tuition to residence to personal expenses, but we also have a tuition waiver and half tuition waiver. So it depends on the application. The amount could be different. So we don't know what will be the combination this year. So another question is about, well, I think I answered the question like how the, okay, someone asked for Arailym's and Manoj contact. What you should do, look at the screen here. What you should do is scan the QR code in the middle, sign up for more information. Then let us know. So when you sign up, then we will know, we will contact you. And then let us know that you want to be contacted with a current student. And if you are here as an audience today, then let us know that we want you, you want to be connected with Manoj or Arailym. But do contact us and let us know. We also have other students who are ready to give you advice, who, current students who are willing to share their experience. So is there any Cantonese class for non-Chinese speaking students? Good one. So first of all, you are not required to speak Chinese to join the university, but you do have the opportunity to learn Chinese, both Chinese Mandarin and Cantonese. Okay, so you will have such opportunities. IB requirements for full scholarship. So just for your reference only, baseline, IB diploma, it has to be diploma, not certificate. IB diploma, 37 or above to start with. Okay, that's the baseline. Okay, you know what? We are kind of running out of time here, but don't worry. If you have questions, we will reply your question when we send you the recording. Okay, but before we go, I mentioned earlier that we have a whole team here to help you with your application. And to start with myself, I'm Sam Wong, and I'm the dedicated country manager for primarily Nepal, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, South Korea, Myanmar, and what else? I have a long list. So just email us. So I'm the first one, and I will pass on to my other.
We cannot hear you.
Responsible for Bangladesh and Middle East market. So if you have any questions about admissions, recruitment, or university, feel free to email me. Hi.
Hello, this is Suki, and I'm responsible for the market in Thailand, Vietnam, and China. I've already seen the name of some of the applicants already, so if you have any questions for me, then feel free to send me an email.
Hi, Frank. So I'm also in charge of recruitment at HKBU, and primarily I will take care of markets in India and Philippines.
Thank you. So I also take care of Africa, just in case you're curious. So if you are not sure which of us are responsible for your country, please email us in this email, ardirect@hkbu, and then we will divert you to the right person. And my colleague is also typing our email address right here, because we want to give it specifically to you guys who attend this special webinar and enjoy this wonderful hour with us. So thank you very much. We will be in touch.
By the way,
will also yeah. All right.
Hello. By the way, I'm sorry for not joining the video. There was some technological problem with my laptop and connection, so I'm really sorry for not showing my face.
You should not be so sorry. I'm sorry that you can't show your lovely face, but you see, you did a wonderful job despite the technical hiccups, and I'm really proud of you too. I hope all of our audience get some very useful information from this webinar, and please do contact us. We are ready to help your application. So thank you again. I hope you got all the email address that you need in the chat box now. But if you don't, you will get email from us anyway. So don't worry about it. So I will call it a day now. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Hope to see you at HKBU. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.